Hello and a very good evening and welcome to Soul Rich Woman TV, Woman of Influence. Now, this series is a series where we're going to talk about empowering women through understanding what is influence, why are influences important, and most importantly, how you can to gain influence on this online digital world. So today we have our very special guest with us. Her name is Melissa Fan.
I
Okay. Yeah, Melissa is the founder of the Wellness Insider with a bachelor's in arts and social sciences from NUS. She went into finance industry where she accumulated a decade of experience in events management as well as traditional and digital marketing. With this experience, she aims to help independent wellness experts and small brands reach out to a wide audience through the platform and educate readers in a holistic manner. As a marketer, she does not believe that messages that make women feel bad about themselves in a good way of advertising. Simply, why can't marketing messages be positive and still be able to sell a product or service? So she started the Wellness Insider as a proponent for body confidence, and she wants others to feel beautiful on the inside and outside. She is currently working on a book with the title Getting Stressed at the Spa: How the Wellness Industry Can Create a Sustainable Model That Customers Will Love. She also has been featured in the Asian Entrepreneur and other media platforms, and she is super awesome. Also a foodie. You can follow her as well on her food blog. So let's welcome Melissa. Hello, Melissa. Thank you for joining us
Hi
today.
everyone. Thanks for having me. Hi Genecia.
Yes, just want to say thank you for joining us, and I hope that all is well on your side.
Everything is good.
Yeah. So today's topic is called the woman of influence. And when do you first know the power of influence?
I think everybody innately kind of knows the power of influence, but the point where it really became very evident to me as to why it is very, very important is when I saw or when I first started my business, and it was through influence of others and even myself, where I managed to meet other people who then became business acquaintances or partners, and then we collaborate. So that to me was, the highlight of how important influence is, and therefore your network as well.
So
That's how I
what
got to
is,
know you, Janisha.
sorry, what do you say?
That's how I got to know you, Janisha.
Through the network.
Yes, the power of influence.
Yeah, the power of influence. So what is a woman of influence?
I think anybody can be a woman of influence. It's really about being conscious about it, and you are always influencing everybody around you in some way or another. So I think basically everyone, every woman is a woman of influence.
So when you said that everyone is a woman of influence, I'm curious. Then in that word itself, influence, what is that meaning for you?
I think influence is like, for example, if you say something or your opinion, and when you say it out as either advice or just a comment, and other people listen to it and they accept it, and it changes their perspective or changes the way they behave, that in its sense is influence. You are influencing others. For example, we all know that the best form of marketing is word of mouth. So when it comes to that, is pure influence already. You are influencing others because when you try something, of take food for example, if you eat something really delicious, you are definitely going to tell somebody that, hey, go check out that cafe or that restaurant, they've got great, I don't know, whatever food it is. So that is influence already. So that's my definition of influence. But of course nowadays, there are different definition as to what influence is. And of course, you've got your bloggers, and then they like to call themselves influencers, which in a way is true because their opinions do influence how the readers perceive the product or the service.
So when you are talking about word of mouth and the other areas, how are you influencing in your own area? I mean, when you talk about you're a foodie, you're also using and leveraging Wellness Insider. How are you influencing?
Definitely for the digital space, you will see me on almost all social media platforms. Whether I use them effectively is another thing. But yeah, definitely through social media. And when you're talking about digital marketing and also the Wellness Insider itself, that is my main bulk or platform for influencing people. As I like to say, we are about promoting body confidence, and we do that through curated opinions, products, and services. Because I like to say that there is a lot of crap out there in the media, and a lot of people will agree with me. So that's the way I try to influence other people, by educating them, by cutting out the BS, and giving them good articles and good opinions, well balanced views on whatever's trending.
So where did all these influences come from? I mean, who were the influencers in your life?
Wow. I think everybody who has been in my life has some sort of impact in the way I behave and think. So obviously when I was younger, it was my parents, they influenced the way I see the world, how I treat other people. And as I grew older, of course, friends, and eventually what you read, newspapers, books, movies, they kind of shape the way you see the world. And I have an elder brother, so of course he also shaped the way I see things, because he gives his own perspective, which is a lot more liberal compared to my parents. So that was fresh perspective. And of course now with social media, there's a lot of stuff out there. On Facebook especially, I can get stuck on Facebook for 2 hours just scrolling through all the news feed. And that influences me in some way or another, because you tend to pick up on certain trends, you tend to pick up on what your friends are talking about. And I think university also influenced me in the sense that it made me learn how to speak up more about my opinions. And it's the rigorous training that we go through in uni to also realize that it's one thing about having your own perspective. It's also about having empathy and knowing what the other person is coming from. And when you are arguing, it's about not only justifying your facts, but making sure that you're not making sweeping statements. So in that sense, all these things have so-called like accumulated and continue to influence the way I behave. Of course, when I started out working, learning how to deal with people differently in a workspace, again, you read different things. So that kind of like shaped me and influenced the way I built my business as well. And
Okay.
as you've read in my profile, why I started all this is also through personal experience. When I went through a whole medical condition, put on a lot of weight, went through a lot of self-esteem issues, and through that, I realized that there are a lot of other women like me, and we are all always being judged. So that influenced me as well to want to influence them back by saying that, hey, it's not a dark end, it's not a cave. There's actually light beyond the tunnel. And let's work towards being confident, feeling good about ourselves, and know that we are worthy so that we can actually work on what's important, which is our health.
Mm-hmm. And for you, what are some of the specific obstacles to gaining influence? I mean, you said that you have had some health issues before, and and therefore you wanted to educate women on their body and their body image, on basically positive body image. So, I mean, my question would be, what are some of the specific obstacles to gaining influence? Because how are you impacting lives out there?
Yeah, definitely. I think in this day and age is a lot more difficult to influence other people because there's just so much noise out there. Social media is great in a way, but it's also created all this noise, as we call it, and people's attention span now is so short. Like according to some data statistics out there, people's attention span is only 3 seconds, and after 3 seconds, they will, if you are boring them, they will just ignore you. So that is the biggest obstacle, getting people's attention in the first place.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the biggest obstacle in this day and age.
So, what are some of the best advice or wisdom that you have given to, I mean, basing on your influence?
Biggest advice, I think it wasn't through just like one word or one quote. Um, it was, and I didn't even realize that I was being a mentor. It was just being very unconscious about it. But my ex-intern, he told me after his internship, after he graduated, that he learned a lot within those 3 months that he was my intern. He learned how to run his own events. He learned how to market his own events. He learned how all the nitty little gritty details, and that actually helped him.
Mm-hmm.
And because I told him straight, when he made a mistake, I really scolded him in front of even our director, and he was humble enough. So he said that it really, really helped him when I scolded him because it was like ingrained in his brain, like what not to do. And when he was successful, of course, I said that I literally let him run his own event. So he said that that actually helped him in his confidence as well because he knew that yeah, he could do it. And we were actually letting him do real work in that sense.
Okay, so how do you measure influence? Is it the bottom line, lifestyle, or family?
Wow. It's very difficult to measure influence. It's not a tangible thing, I
I mean,
feel.
because now social media, they measure influence by likes on
Yeah.
Instagram, followers on Instagram. I mean,
Yeah.
on social media. Yeah. So, how do
Mm.
you, as the founder of Wellness Insider, measure influence?
That's why I say it's very difficult. There are so many metrics out there, Yeah, definitely you can say the number of followers, but when I speak to a lot of marketers out there, we all say the same thing, which is, so what if you've got 20, 30,000 followers? A lot of them are actually not real followers because you can't really measure whether you're influencing them because they may not even react to your post. And the problem nowadays also with all the Facebook and Instagram algorithm is that even if you have 20,000 followers, it doesn't mean that all 20,000 followers see what you post. So
Mm.
again, it's very, very hard to measure those kind of influence in that sense. But I always feel that the best feedback that I get is really from real human beings, or when people leave comments and ratings. So I'm really, really very thankful that Wellness Insider, we've got 5-star rating so far from a lot of business friends and family in that sense, because partners are saying that they feel really, really happy about what we're doing. They feel strongly and they're helping us, although we are a really new company, because they like what we stand for. And it goes to show that, if we can influence this small pool of people, we only can grow bigger. We'll never shrink. We'll just influence and more people and slowly change people's mindsets. So
So,
yeah,
so
that's the
sounds like you are having a lot of accomplishments in terms of your influence. So, can you share with us what's your proudest accomplishment in terms of your influence?
back to again my story of the my intern. So I feel the most accomplished when I mentor younger people in that sense, and they come back years later saying that it's because I helped them, or because I was their boss or I was their teacher, that they learned a lot of things. So I influence them for sure. And hopefully they go out into the world being better human beings in that sense. So definitely those kind of influence is what makes me feel very accomplished.
By being able to influence younger generation makes you feel so excited about life, right?
Yeah, correct. It doesn't
But oh,
necessarily have to be younger generation too. I just feel that as long as it's no matter what age, if I change their perspective on things and they go out feeling that hey, I learned something new and I feel better about myself. Because when I was in the finance industry, instead of
mm,
teaching people like interns, right, I also taught people about stocks and shares. So I
mm,
even did one workshop teaching women about stocks and shares. And one older lady came up to me and she said that she found it really helpful because it put things into a lot of, it simplified things for her. It didn't seem so like crazy out there and difficult. And she felt like I was being very honest, so she could get real advice from me. So I felt that, yeah, it's not just about younger generation. Of course, younger generation, you feel a bit like, oh yes, they are going to kind of like take over and the world will be a better place in a sense. But I still feel the same sense of accomplishment when, in that sense, I was her mentor because I was teaching her stocks and shares, but she was much older than I am. So to me, it's about more of knowledge, and rather than age.
okay. And what I'm hearing is you are, having multiple channels, touch points with different generations so that you can have different influences in their life. So what
Yeah.
do you find most challenging in terms of influence or influencing them?
Well, again, attention span. People are so short. Yeah, the attention span nowadays is so short that to garner their interest in the first place is really, really difficult. Another thing is that I also do notice from the Matrix when I check back on what is trending is that people are really self-centered. So yeah, people are really are self-centered. Why do they watch certain videos? Why do they read certain um, articles? Is because it's about them, you know. So they can't be bothered to read about things that they think is about others. Although when you really really delve deep into it, by understanding others, you actually understand yourself better. But now that I know that, I have to start tweaking a lot of things such that it becomes more like, no, it's about you. And then through that, really educate them about what's going on with other people.
Hmm. And also, I saw one article that you have sent to me relating to your area of influence that you like to discuss. So let us go to
Yeah.
the article right now. I'm looking at this article, Fashion of Plumping Up a Plus-Sized Model? Question mark. So
Yeah.
maybe you can share with us a little bit more. Why would you like to bring up this article and discuss in the area of your influence?
Yeah, so as I said, I'm talking about promoting body confidence, and the body positive movement has always been about plus size models and about the fashion industry and how we're being labeled, etc. And I felt that this was very interesting because Iskra Lawrence, she is considered a plus size model, but it
Mm-hmm.
depends on who you're talking to. So we've got two camps in the fashion industry. One is, you're very used to your size zeros, the really skinny ones. And then you've got your plus size camp. So your skinny size zero, as I said, they are size zero, which is about US size 6 or 4 and below. And your plus size are your US 16 and above. But Israel Lawrence, she is a UK 14. So
Wow.
she's actually in between.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at statistics, the average size of women in both in the US and the UK are in between. they're in between your plus size models as well as your size 0 models. So when she was doing a lot of photo shoots for the plus size, they actually added padding to her bum, to her boobs and everything, so that she could fit in the plus size clothes, which were your UK size 16 and above. And definitely she was too big for your size 0s because she's very curvy. So to me, that was very interesting because it brings out a lot of issues about how women, we are all different sizes, from the skinny all the way to the really big ones, and we're just being labeled. The fashion industry is either skewed to both ends, but most of us actually are in the middle. And it does crazy things for our confidence, because if you don't fit into either one of them, then where do you fit in that sense, right? And humans are social animals. We like to fit in that sense. So that's why I brought up that article, because I felt that it was very interesting. Like, to you, you think plus size is really very big. Why do you need to plump them up, right? And then when you delve into it and you realize that, hey, yeah, it's weird. Average size women are not represented by these two fashion industries. And in that article also, there was a video where she gave a talk during the TEDx talk, and she talked about how she also went through her own body confidence issues, and she's gorgeous. She, as a model, she's gorgeous, but even she too had issues with her size. And she was talking about how it's a journey still, in a way, where she had to be grateful for other things in her life before she realized that, hey, she's beautiful no matter what.
So she had a realization.
Yeah, realization. And I think that's what a lot of us are going through. Even skinny people, not just plus size people, but skinny people as well. Because I was scrolling through my Facebook feed, and there was this woman. She's really skinny, and she posted it in the group, saying that she's really, really skinny, she's got a high metabolism rate, and while everybody else is saying that, oh, you're so great that you lose weight so fast, you don't put on weight, and you're so skinny, she actually wants to be healthier looking. She doesn't want to be so skinny. So people on the skinny side have that. People on the plus size side also have the, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to look like that skinny people. We are all grappling with body image issues, and in some ways, the whole body positive movement is about, you shouldn't really care. You shouldn't care about wanting to look like some ideal person on the cover. You are who you are. Like what the skinny girl said, her metabolism is very high. Then it's great that she's skinny, right? And just work towards being healthy. Because if she's skinny, and she's losing a lot of weight, there might be other health issues, and she just needs to watch out for that. Same with the plus size people.
Wow, that's a great article that you've picked up to demonstrate your point of influence. My next question is, do you think there are any downsides to being influential? Why or why not?
Definitely there are downsides, because not everybody likes you. Not everybody agrees with you. So it's only when we grow older, then we grow thicker skins. So but definitely I found that as the number of followers increased on my Instagram account and on Facebook, I became more conscious of what I said, and that's responsibility. Because the downside is that when you are influential, it means that people really do believe what you say, and you have to be very careful and responsible what you do say. You don't want to mislead people. You don't want to make sweeping statements, and you don't want to offend certain people.
I think that's very well said. So tell me something about influence that few people have ever realized.
That you are actually doing it unconsciously. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, you are influencing people whether you know it or not. For example, if yesterday we were talking about the movie, right? if you haven't watched the movie yet, you would have asked me, oh, so how is it? And I would say, oh yeah, it's great, you should go watch it, it's very exciting. And I'm influencing you already, because you might really go, yeah, because Mel said that it's interesting, I might go and watch it, right? But
Yeah.
if we never talked about it at all, then obviously I'm not going to influence you about it. Yeah.
So many thoughts in many people's mind. I mean, like, how did you really become an influential person, and when did you realize that you're finally one?
I'm still on the path of being influenced, I think, an influential person. Um, yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm not the prime minister, not the president or anything like that. So I don't think my power of influence is like that great. I'm still working towards it. Baby steps, honestly. And again, it really depends on which area you're talking about. I think when it comes to influencing my family and friends, it's pretty strong, right? People do listen to what I say, but that's family and friends, right? Out there in the working world, again, it really depends on who you talk to. So people who have worked with me for a long time, yes, definitely my word holds a lot more power than say somebody I've just met a week ago. So yeah, still working on it. How am I working on it? By being interviewed by Genecia.
You just answered my next question. Actually, I was about to ask you any specific steps that you have took to make you the influential person that you are today. So you said that taking steps out to go for
Yeah,
interviews and to be seen and to be
yeah,
more visible.
yeah.
So then, but my next question will be, what's the most typical reason why people fail at being influential?
Um, okay, there are a few simple reasons. One could be you are just not writing the right messages. Yeah,
Very good point.
because
Share a little bit more
yeah.
about that.
So for example, if you are talking about say you want to focus on whatever, let's talk about food again, okay? Food, everybody loves food, right? Okay,
You're
so
really
let's say
foodie,
that
you know.
I know, go check out inchefmode.blogspot.sg. Okay, anyway.
Okay, continue.
say say for example, if you are you want to be influential in the food blogging space, okay? A
Mm-hmm.
lot of food bloggers out there right now, so I think a lot of people can actually understand what I'm saying. So say for example, you want to influence people, food bloggers, people who follow food bloggers, but your messages are not really about you don't focus on either doing food reviews, or you don't have any recipes. You are just taking very, I don't know, writing really bad stuff like, oh, I ate this today, the hot dog was nice. So you're sending a lot of the wrong kind of message, because people do not take you seriously. If you look at the top food bloggers, what do? They really tell you about their passion about food. They drill down to what ingredients are in there, they dissect it for you. Some of them end up even cooking themselves, because that's how they experiment, and that's how they can actually tell you that I know my stuff. Right? I can't swear on this, right? I nearly said that.
So having said that, because you mentioned that, we should have the right message, then what do you think women should be doing, should do more in terms of maximizing their influence?
Again, depends on what your niche is. What do you want to specialize in? And observe what everyone else is doing. For example, it can be your competitors or somebody who you really look up to. And yeah, see what they are doing. And I mean, when we always say that mimicking someone is always the best form of flattery, is because you recognize that the person is really your key person of influence. You want to be like that person, right? So yeah, try it out, and then eventually you will find out what is your own style, what suits you, what you actually really like about it, because you are not meant to be a clone of that person. Find out what works for you, and then continue on that path. and you will slowly develop your own style, and sooner or later you realize that, hey, you're actually influencing other people, and there will be another younger girl who looks up to you, and you become her key person of influence.
So, having said that, being the key person of influence, do you believe that everyone has the potential to be a woman of influence?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yeah, do you believe that everyone has the potential to be a woman of influence?
Definitely. But how big that circle is really up to you. Because there are a lot of people who are just not comfortable. They don't like to be in front. Mainly, they're super introverted. So maybe, yeah, and again, it's your ambition, right? If you don't want to be influential in like the whole wide world, then obviously you're not going to do Facebook Live. But if you want to be, then definitely you have the potential. It's just you probably may need to step out of your comfort zone once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like I also do a lot of interviews with women, and I always like to joke that I always take their virgin Facebook Live experience, because really it was for them stepping out of their comfort zone. They've never
Mm-hmm.
been in front of a camera to talk or be interviewed. They are so
Mm-hmm.
used to being always in the background. They're okay talking face to face like that, but talking in front of a camera is a different mindset altogether.
So leading to this point, okay, I mean the next point is, what do you think is holding women back? Earlier on you did say that, stepping out of a comfort zone is their virgin first Facebook Live, So tell us, what do you think it's holding women back?
Themselves, really themselves. And this goes beyond women. I think for any gender, men or women, what's holding them back is often themselves. And we often have this little voice in our head that tells us things, and they often make small issues really, really big. And when you actually do it, you realize that, those little small voices, they're just talking nonsense. And you will regret it if you've never tried it once. Yeah.
Wow. So, having said that, what is the most embarrassing moment would you feel comfortable sharing? I mean, in your path of influence. I want to find out.
Most embarrassing. Um, Honestly, I haven't really been embarrassed. To me, it's always
Wow.
been um in terms of more like disappointment, where I feel like I didn't deliver what I promised. So that is the part that I feel more disappointed rather than embarrassed. Yeah.
Mm.
And then I feel a little bit more guilty, because when I go to the people involved and I'm so apologetic and etc., and they give me a second chance, so that's when I feel guilty and feel with plus their disappointment rather than embarrassment.
Mm. So, what books are you reading right now?
I'm reading a lot of books. I
Mm-hmm.
like this app called Wattpad. It's written by amateur authors. So
Mm-hmm.
it's actually pretty fun to discover all these amateur authors, and reading what they've come up with, the top of their head is very entertaining, and it's almost like watching a drama, because they update it either every week or every other day. So you have something new to read every day. But if you're talking about books that I have read and probably relevant for your audience, I highly recommend this book called The Unbusy Entrepreneur, written
Wow.
by my friend Olivia Cheong. So she has a lot of tips in there, because she is an entrepreneur in a way, and she meets a lot of entrepreneurs, and people keep asking her the same questions again, like how do you save time, how do you have apps that help you to schedule all your stuff and blah blah blah. So this book chock full of advice, and she also has tips on how you can outsource certain things, because you are not superwoman, you cannot do everything by yourself, and that's when you really need to learn how to reach out. But even when you reach out and you have, say, a virtual assistant or an admin staff, the next thing that is very difficult for all of us is how do you manage them. So she even has tips on how to manage these help that you get. Another book that I would recommend is also written by another friend called El Salim, and it's called When Love and Money Are Gone. One thing for us women, and this is very evident when I was in the finance industry, and that's why I came up with the workshop for women, is that women tend to think that when it comes to finance, it's boring and the men will have it all settled, but they are not helping themselves in that sense. And I spoke with another entrepreneur who deals with expats, and she was saying that the divorce rate in for expats is really, really high. And what happens when that happens is the women are just lost. They do not know what to do, especially when it comes to finances. So this book is important because she talks about the emotional stress as well. So yeah, these two books for female entrepreneurs, pretty important. Yeah.
So who are some of your mentors?
My mentors, I would say in different times of my life. So when
In
I
terms
was
of
much, much
for
younger,
your influence, in terms for your influence?
my influence, mentors, I think again, based on how I influence people, it's like how I see my colleagues, especially those who are older, my bosses, how they deal with people. And of course, I mean, I look at my mom, yeah, they are the ones who teach me certain life experiences, and it shapes me as to how I want to treat other people and therefore influence them. Yeah, you learn through the people around you, especially those who are more senior, as to
Mm-hmm.
how they actually influence people, how they talk to people. And yeah, that's how I learn, from observing other people.
So, what do you think or what do you believe is the most important element to success in being a woman of influence?
You need to believe in yourself. And believe in yourself, as I like to say, there's a very fine line between arrogance and confidence. So make sure that although you believe in yourself, you don't step over to the other side where you are just arrogant and you think that you are the best, because there will always be other people who are better than you. So yeah, but be confident, because it's only when you're confident that you're willing to try new things and you're willing to pick yourself up when you fail. As we all know that failure is, the start of success, right? We learn from failure. So that's why, but if you don't have the confidence, when you fail, you're just going to go back into your little hole and go, right? So learn from failures and just be confident.
So, why is it so important to have influence given today's climate?
Because if you don't have influence, you will not get what you want, and you will not get what you need. It's
Mm-hmm.
true. It's true. In the world, especially when you are working, if you don't have the right influence, things are not going to get efficiently done. I can remember many times back in my previous job, when I asked like the younger girls to get something done, they will call up the vendor and I would have to chase. I'm like, why is this thing not done yet? Why isn't it done yet? And it's like 2 days already. And then they'll be like, so and so said this, so and so said that. I'm like, really? Okay, then I picked up the phone, called so and said, why is it not done yet? And okay, sorry. Next thing I know, I got it within the hour. That's the power.
Wow.
That is the
So that
power of influence.
yeah, so that's the power of influence for Melissa.
Well, a lot of people have the same thing, like my boss as well, or my ex-boss, right? Because she also knows a lot of people. She is the head of the department. Whatever she says obviously has a lot more influence than even I did, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that is the power of influence, right? You have to work at it, but it also means that you have to be confident and true to yourself. Because
So in
no matter what,
yeah,
from my ex-boss,
mm-hmm.
and my
Your
ex-boss and
ex-boss.
I, although we have that kind of power of influence, you don't abuse it, because the minute you abuse it, your influence actually drops.
Okay, so now you said this. Okay, it's very good. It's a very good point, Melissa. So you said that when you abuse it, and then things happen, right? I mean, your influence will drop. So in your journey of finding that influence, have you ever dissociated yourself from someone who didn't mesh with your idea of influence?
Yes, definitely. There will always be people who are just toxic. It happens with work, in your personal relationships. There are just some people that you just have to say goodbye, adios, amigo, and do what you need to do. Block them on Facebook. you know. Yeah, there are some people like that. It really depends on how toxic there are. And there are some companies that I will never work with, because I just feel that their sense of ethics and the way that they market their business is not the way I want to market mine. So yes, definitely. And you should do it because it's for your own mental health. You don't want to work with people that you're just not comfortable with. Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's move to the quick fire round. So, yay, very good. So when people ask you what do you do, how do you answer?
I promote body confidence. Or
What?
that's the PC version. You want a non-PC version?
What's the PC version?
Politically correct.
Correct. Okay. Okay, what's the PC
So
version?
the non-PC version is 包刷包嗨, do everything.
Aiyo. Okay. So what's the first word that comes to your mind when I say work?
That's not a word, sorry. Wellness insider.
Family,
Parents.
entrepreneurship,
Wellness insider.
technology,
Phone.
influence,
Instagram.
food.
When am I going to eat?
That's not one word. Anyway.
Oh, sorry, it's only
No, it's
limited
okay.
to one word. Food.
Oh, no, what's the first word? But it's fine. That's fine. Okay,
Eat.
tell us which application. So tell us which application or service you are using for travel.
I don't use an app for travel. Oh wait, Google Map. Google Map is very important. So important.
For meeting scheduling.
I just use the calendar thing.
What piece of tech you can't live without?
My phone. Oh no, I'm so attached to my phone.
What do you excel at that people might not realize?
Might not realize what I sell it. I don't know. I really don't know. Sorry, skip.
Okay. What is something you believe that other people think is insane?
I'm a very sane person, my dear.
So your sane is your insanity? But you're definitely a very sane person.
Oh, okay, wait. I know what you see. Not everybody thinks that I'm crazy, but I believe that whatever you study doesn't affect your later life, and you should study what you love. And later you find your career, you can do whatever. It can be a totally different industry. So why this came about was because in my university, I majored in arts and social sciences. And after graduation, what did I do? I went into finance.
Okay,
People think I'm crazy.
So people think you're crazy because you went into finance, even though you did arts and social sciences. I think that's very interesting. So finally, what is your favorite city?
My favorite city has to be Singapore.
One last
Not because
thought.
I'm being very patriotic, but let me substantiate that point, okay? It's because I
Hello, one
have...
word lah, one word. This is the one word round, you know. You have a lot
I'll
of
keep quiet.
substantiation.
Okay, if you don't want to hear my substantiation, fine.
Can lah, you want to say, you say lah.
Later you edit out, right? Sure.
Yeah, later I will edit for the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay. The reason why I say Singapore is because honestly, I stayed overseas. I've stayed in London. I've stayed in Fukuoka, which is in Japan, for a few months. I've also stayed in Melbourne for also about a month and a month plus. And I must say that we have it really, really good in Singapore. It is so convenient. You want to go somewhere, you just take a bus, you just hop onto a bus or take an Uber or the MRT. You want anything, you can get almost anything in Singapore. The only complaint I have about Singapore is something that Singapore cannot change, which is the weather. It's too hot.
But so Singapore is still your favorite city. So yeah, very good. So let's move on to the last few questions. So one last thought or piece of advice you might have missed.
I really feel that if you shouldn't be thinking too much about wanting to be a woman of influence. I know it's very counterintuitive, but you shouldn't be thinking, oh, I want to have many followers. I want a lot of people to believe what I believe and in that sense worship the ground that you walk on. You shouldn't have that kind of mentality if you really want to be a woman of influence. Instead, you should be working on what you're good at. You should be working on what you are not so good at, and learning and be accepting for what the world or universe is teaching you. And it's only then that when you give advice or when you say something, that people will really listen to you because they know that you're not talking crap out of your butt. You know, that you are coming from a very good place. You are being humble and you're being authentic. So authenticity is actually very important when you want to influence other people. And the only way that you can be authentic is not because you are trying to have a huge number of followers. It's because you are being honest with whatever you are saying out there and you're putting out into the world. So again, that comes with the rest. So yeah.
Wow. Okay, great. So how can my audience reach out to you?
I am on Instagram, Facebook will be The Wellness Insider. Twitter will be Wellness Insider. Website is thewellnessinsider.sg. So these are the 4 main ways. Google Plus, I think we are. I don't remember Google Plus, the address, but you can click on it from my website. We are also on LinkedIn. Just Google. No, sorry, cannot say Google. Search on LinkedIn for The Wellness Insider. You can follow us there as well. I haven't started Snapchat because I really don't understand Snapchat. Sorry, but that's probably why they came out with Snapchat, to prevent older people like me from interacting. So these are the main ones.
Okay, so please let my audience know your call to action. I mean, like, where would you want them to go? I mean, in terms of what giveaways, any giveaways?
Okay, for those who are interested in probiotics, you will be very keen to know that I'll be doing a kombucha workshop in May. So I will give out 1 free ticket to 1 lucky follower. So all you need to do is to just say that, hey, I watched you on Genecia's Women of Influence show. Leave your name or just DM us through Facebook. And I'll pick 1 lucky winner. We'll release the results on the 15th of May. So stay tuned for that. And we are also doing a wellness day out in June. More details for that. And Also, I will release the contest details for that. We will release one free whole day pass to it. And we've got a lot of things lined up. We've got like a boot camp in the morning, a lunch picnic thing. I think we've got beauty workshop as well. So if you like makeup, this is your thing. Yeah.
So all this information can be found on thewellnessinsider.sg.
Yes, correct.
Okay, awesome. So today we have with us the founder of The Wellness Insider. The Wellness Insider.
The
Earlier,
wellness is
yeah, the wellness insider. But we just want to thank Melissa for being here on the show. For the show notes and all the giveaways, do go to the website wellnessinsider.sg, thewellnessinsider.sg. And of course, for the show and all the relating links and show notes, do go to soulrichwoman.com. My name is Genecia Laura, the host and founder of the Soul Rich Woman and the show Woman of Influence. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll see you soon and goodbye.
bye.
Bye.